Hey fam, grace and peace. Taurus Beats here again, just trying to do this thing. Keep trying to do these live streams. Um, like I said, I'm not going to belabor the issue, but it's a lot faster to do it on Facebook for me. And that's again because, the visual impairment. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the music. Of course, I'm using Reason 13. Um, if you don't know by now, I make whatever comes to mind. So my creative process, my flow, um, yeah, you're gonna watch some of that or see some of that in this live stream. This particular track that I'm working on right now is more of a jazzy type track. I just call it jazz, but let's get into it. So let me show you some of the things that I'm using. This is what I will do in this particular live stream. I will show you what it is that I'm using inside of Reason. So start out with, I've been using Reason since the first version. So all the way back to, what was it, 1999, 2000, somewhere in there, right in 1999 before it changed to 2000. I was using Reason back then. I still use it today. I use other DAWs, but Reason is my go-to. Let's see. The drums that you hear, these are coming from, let's see, I think they're coming from Strike. So let's take a look. I just jumped into this project today, so I'm actually just looking at it for the first time in a bunch of weeks. Let's see. So let's just hit solo here and just listen to what we have here. Okay, so we are using Strike. This is by Air. What is it? Air Music Technology. I think that's what it's called. But this right here is is the drums. It's just basically, I program them. And then put the arrangement in there. So you can kind of see the ones that I'm hitting. Just showing which one's playing right here. Between these two here. No big deal. Like I said, just for the most part, the way I do it is I go in and I'll basically just play some things out. So I'll listen to what the actual, what the device is, what the VST has given me. And then when I listen to it, then I'll just basically program what I want. So this right here. Because I'm using the outro here. So this is one of the things about it, is because I'm using the outro to do a hard stop. That's what that is. So doesn't really, there's no particular way about it. In other words, what I'm getting at is whatever I hear, I'll usually capture it. I don't really care what it is. I really don't. It's like I'm listening to it. If I vibe with it, I'll capture it and I'll move on to the next thing. I'm not trying to structure it all the way out, writing everything out as, putting this one and then this one and this one. No, if it sounds good, I grab it, put it in there, and I'll go. So this first section here, or this first segment, this is what you're listening to. And then the second segment here, let's play that one. You see that one is just repeating. And this one here. Same thing, just repeating. So not a whole lot of difference here, it's just keeping it. So that one's different. So I have a bunch of these already here. So most of the time what I'll do is like I said before, whatever I hear that I like, I just grab it, put it in here. Not necessarily to structure the song or structure the whole thing first. It's just so I can have the drum loops here. So I can grab them and reposition them when I want to. So this one right here, So notice what's happening here is I'm not really playing a loop. Out here, I'm triggering the different pieces. So again, I don't plan for a lot of this to really make sense. Looking at it is just that, just remember, I try to capture whatever it is, put it in a lane so I can come back and use it whenever I want to. Just capturing different ideas. All right, so that's enough of strike. Again, for the drums, capturing that. The other parts, most of the time when I get the loops that I want, or when I get this particular drum loop here, and I play it, and that's when I go into pretty much my creative mode. My creative mode, I don't usually draw stuff in. So in other words, I don't really use the mouse to do the piano roll stuff. Go in here and draw lines in. I'm not against it. It's just that it's too tedious for me, again, for my visual impairment, because I don't see so well. I can't really muster the time to actually try to make sure I draw it exactly right and all that type of stuff. But for those who know how to do that, man, I give you mad props, because if you know how to do that, sometimes I wish I could do that, because yeah, it makes just another tool in the tool bag. But I play out stuff. So what I'm getting at with that is, I'm not a pianist, or in other words, I do not play piano, so I don't have the piano technique or the skills to move up and down the piano. I just do it the way I know how to do it. So when I go into the creative mode on the keyboard, this is just my way of drawing it out, playing it, if you will, hand playing it, the best way that I can. So let's get back into, take a listen to this. And everything, by the way, everything that I do is by ear. So again, the technical skill, the training, and all that, I don't really have that. But it's neither here nor there, for the most part. My encouragement to anybody who's doing music, and what I always encourage young kings and young queens to do, listen, do it how you do it. Just get it done. That's really it. Do it how you do it. Get it done. So for me, listening to the bass line, usually what I have to do is find the key, but I'm already in the key. So for the most part, like I keep talking about, it is basically, no, I don't have the piano skill or the technical training as far as how to do the fingering and all that. But over time, I just developed the way that I actually play. So everything that I'm doing is transposed. So I can't tell you what it is that I'm playing. I don't know what the notes are. I just don't. I know what they are by ear. And basically, what I am doing is, to keep it short and sweet, I'm playing patterns. There's a pattern that I know, because I'm transposed in a particular way, to where I can try to explain this a little bit. So I'm transposed in a way to where the fingering that I know, or the fingering that works for me. Again, this is not a piano training, none of that. Because what I'm telling you, I'm not trying to suggest that you do it. I'm just saying that this is not a piano technique, if you will. It's just that for my my situation, if you want to call it. I just know I'm playing by ear and I'm playing by feel more than anything else. I'm playing by how the notes feel to my hands. I am right hand dominant, so most of everything that I'm playing with my right hand. I usually only use two fingers on my left hand, the thumb and the first finger. Sometimes I use others, but I don't have that, what do you call it, the ambidextrous? I don't have that. So left hand, you get a couple of fingers. Right hand, but again, do it how you got to do it to get it to sound the way you want it to sound. So I'm playing by ear and I'm playing by feel. The pattern that I'm using is basically, I know that everything is transposed based off of this. 1, 2, 3. These three right here in the middle of the keyboard, that's all I know. So no matter what I'm listening to, if I was doing sample flipping, and sometimes I'll do that in live streams, when I'm doing sample flipping, everything is right here. This is right where I start. So I transpose the notes until I get into the key or into that register or that key using these three. One pattern is these three, these two white keys, then black keys. See the white key here? That's my pattern. I don't mess with these. Sometimes I mess with this one. And I'm not talking about the note that it's making. I'm just talking about where the key is. Sometimes I mess with that. Usually when I'm doing jazz and I want that, that little. Anyway, you can hear it. This is what I'm getting at. The pattern is what I'm playing. It doesn't. Really, I'm just moving the pattern. And I can move and I can feel where it is even without looking at it. So I'm playing by feel and I'm playing by ear. That's short and sweet. I'm probably belaboring the issue like I normally do. But anyway, so that's one thing. But also, over time, my sound, if you will, or is two things. My style and my sound. The sound that I have is I don't know what you would call. It's my sound, but it's definitely influenced by jazz. It's a jazz influence completely. It doesn't mean that I play hardcore jazz. It just means that most of what I'm doing is jazz. I'm improvising. I'm playing by ear. I'm playing off the top of my head. There's nothing written. I don't have anything scripted. It's just whatever comes to me, I try to play it. So what I hear in my mind, I'm literally trying to find it as fast as what's coming to mind. I'm trying to find it as fast as I possibly can with the ability or lack thereof that I have. So it's just not really thinking about it. It's just going with the feel. So, some people call it the flow or whatever. I just call it being in the moment. So as I hear something, I try to get there as fast as I possibly can. And when it comes to playing along, like if I'm playing with this bass, so let's just do it with the bass. So just with this bass. So I'm listening to it and I'm playing. So it's pattern over and over again. So for me, the pattern, there's one thing for the physical where my hands are. There's another part of it as far as what I hear. And again, my style or the pattern that I hear. It's a pattern as far as how I hear the music. So again, it's not music theory. It's just talking about my process and my way of actually thinking about the way and what I do. So when I actually think about what it is that I'm doing, it's kind of hard to explain. That's why a lot of times I run into like, okay, how do you really explain that? All I know is you call it search and destroy. I hear it and I try to play it. That's as simple as you get. I mean, like, where is it on the keyboard? I really don't know. Other than my hands are here and I find what I need to play, and that's that. And you just keep going. And I think I know over time, the more that you practice it, it doesn't really matter. You develop it as like anything else, pretty much like walking. Once you learn how to do it, you keep doing it. Riding a bike, you figure out how to ride a bike, you just do it. You don't really think about it anymore. So I think that's the whole thing of over time, that's just the way that I move. So my encouragement, I'm always trying to help other people elevate, whether it's in music or life. Don't necessarily have to. I'm not trying to teach you how to do music. I'm not doing that. But what I want to do is help other people elevate. I want to be hope for people, especially in a time of everything that's going on. So if I can help you in any way, what my encouragement to you is, again, doesn't matter what you don't know how to do. Take what you know how to do and then master it. So it's like try to master. It could be the most kludgy way or the jankiest way possible of doing something to anybody else. But if it gets you to the result that you desire, and you've mastered that to where you can do it pretty much without thinking about it, fine, go with that. My encouragement is just do that. But at the same time, also learn the foundational stuff. So I'm always learning theory. I'm always going back and trying to learn the stuff that I don't know, and I do that every day. So anyway, that's my encouragement piece. Do what you got to do. Keep it moving. Anyway, let's keep it moving. So as far as playing the pattern of what I hear, again, that's the style. So you'll hear a lot of times the phrasings, and this is one of the things I had to develop over time as well. When I first started, I was just trying to move with whatever's playing. So you hear the way that I'm playing now. So when I first started, it was like that. But what I did is I started listening. I was listening more to how my favorite piano players would play. Listening to the little phrases, the nuances that they could do because they have the training. And whether I have the training or not, I can mimic it. That's what we do. Music producers, anybody who's watching this, who's doing music, you already know how to mimic stuff because you listen to something and you just mimic it. You try to make type beats. You do this already, so it's no big deal. So I don't want to complicate it. I'm just saying that the idea of listening or watch two things. Listening first of all, and I mean, you already do this, and I want to separate the two. Listening versus hearing. We hear all the time. Hearing is passive. We hear stuff all the time. That's not a big deal. You already know that. But listening requires an attention. So you're listening and you're giving attention to something, whether it's the nuances in whatever track. Like I'm listening to this bass. When I'm listening to the bass, I'm listening to where it's going. Well, I played it, so I kind of know where it's going. But I'm listening to where it's going to go next. So it's anticipation. I'm listening for where it's going to go next. And that's how, over time, when I'm playing, I know kind of where I'm going to go next on the keyboard physically. But I also know where I'm going to go musically based off of just that change. Dun, dun, dun. So we're in the bridge right now. This is the bridge piece right here. So, okay, let me slow down. Let me back it up. What I just described right there, because if you're doing the music, maybe you don't think about this part of it. And I hope that I can help you. I'm always targeting young kings and young queens who are basically doing music. Perhaps they don't have everything that they need. And I'm just trying to let them know, look, man, you got what you need. You got enough stuff in your tool bag to just go with it. Run with it, and develop the rest as you go. Just keep it moving. Keep moving towards your goal, and don't let anything stop you, because life is going to happen. And that's one of the biggest things that I point out. That's why I do these streams. I do most of my streams on Facebook. I try to do these on YouTube from time to time. But anyway, life is going to happen. And what I mean by that, just like with me, eyes went gray, couldn't do anything about it, still don't know what's wrong, but that's been 10 years ago. So in 10 years, you got to keep it moving. I have to keep it moving. I have to keep doing I have to keep being who I am. And that's a creator. I create. So got to keep moving, got to keep doing it. So life is going to happen. All you got to do, just try to keep moving. That's my biggest encouragement. Move in your craft, move in what your desire, your passion is. Don't let life stop you. Circumstances and situations, they're going to happen for all of us. But you're a creator. More than likely, if you're watching this and you're sitting there still watching me talk, you're a creator. And my encouragement to you today, create. Be who you are. Be a creator. Figure it out. Figure out a way to do it. And don't let other people's nonsense bother you. Don't let that stuff detract you from who you are. You have to create. You have to keep going. Because again, life is going to happen. Stuff is going to happen. Eyesight loss. Yep. I got to deal with that probably for the rest of my life. This past year, I'm just getting up to the anniversary of my mom passing last year. So technically speaking, tomorrow would be 1 year since my mom passed. So life is going to happen, but you have to keep being. You got to keep being. So keep it moving. All right, enough of that. So the idea of playing the patterns. Musically, you're already thinking musically, because if you're doing any of this stuff, there's something about you that is different in that way, that you can think musically. We don't always talk about it that way, but there is a difference. It's just like, it's kind of like when I'm talking and I'm going through and I am improvising. All of this is improvisation. I haven't written anything out. I don't script anything, and that's on purpose. It's just show you this is real. This is real time, real life. This is real Taurus. I'm not gonna give you anything fake. I don't have time for that. I'm just gonna give you the best that I can give you of me. So what I'm pointing out to you is just like this, man. It's improvising, just like we do when we talk. We talk and we're always on the fly, thinking and processing other stuff. You're doing the same thing in music. We think, and we think with words and grammar and putting all that stuff together without thinking about it. If you're in music production, if you're doing music in any kind of way, you're developing your skills to do the same thing, to think musically without really thinking about it. I know that, man, I probably jacked that all up, but get the picture. You think musically. So when you hear how this bass is playing, that right there, based off of what that is, to me, that's automatically a bridge. And the reason why it's a bridge is because the note that it starts on. And you're like, well, how can you say that? Because the beginning, or the root, this is the music theory stuff, the root is this. So you hear that? That's the root. So that's where it is. This is not the beginning of the song. Notice where it starts. Da, 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 da. And that's another thing. So even though I'm not a singer, I still think musically. How? Because when I hear a particular note, I automatically go into trying to sing or to hum it out or to match it in some kind of way. I hear it, I'm automatically thinking it, so I'm trying to get my voice or get something about me to mimic that note that I hear the best way that I can. We all do that. And I think, again, if you sing along with any song, you're mimicking what you're hearing in order to be in the key or sing the song. All I'm pointing out, don't let it be like all over your head, because it's not. You're doing it every day. That's my take anyway. Don't take what I say as dogmatic. Just take it as, like I said, this is just Taurus. So anyway, so that's starting at a different position or a different note. Da 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 da, and it's repeating. And then this, but this is the root. The root is da 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 da. So that's where we are. Da 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 da. So that's where we are as far as that right there. If I just played that over and over again, that's really kind of where your verse is going to be, or your verses and hooks. That right there is the meat of the whole thing. So listening to it, and then playing along. So no matter what note I hit, physically speaking, no matter what note I hit or what key I hit on this keyboard, as soon as I hit that note, and I am already thinking about where I am relative to that bass note. So just hearing that, and then it's like, how am I gonna make that work? I know this doesn't make sense, man. A lot of this stuff ain't gonna make sense, but it's just like this. We do it so quickly. Is recognizing, in my eyes, is this. As soon as I hear that bass, and I can strike any, then I know where I am relative to what's playing and what I'm going to do next. I'm anticipating, but also I'm like, there's something about it where it's like I know how to make it make sense now. So even if I play, you see what I'm saying? So it's like it doesn't matter what I hit, as long as I'm in my physical space. You see what I'm saying? As long as I am on those physical keys, it doesn't really matter. I can make any of them work. And that's what I'm talking about as far as thinking musically. Like I said, take it as a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. The idea, though, is that I'm playing along with it, moving along with it, and just adding pieces as they come. Now, let's continue with the rest of it. That's just with the bass note, playing along with it. Let me get some volume on this. So again, just listening and just moving again with the patterns that I have, using the patterns that I have, and basically thinking musically and just thinking about what it is. I keep saying thinking, but really just going with what I really feel or anticipating, and just moving with it, blocking everything else out. That doesn't make any sense either. So a lot of this stuff, like I said, when I'm doing impromptu stuff, man, I know it doesn't make sense. But I hope it helps, fam. Just to let you know, look, if you like any music or anything that I put together, and then you see me do it, and you're like, okay, this cat just doing it, he's just doing this. If you can come up and you say, well, he's just doing this. If you can just do what you do and be who you are, that's all I'm trying to get you. That's all I want people to understand. Look, it don't require all that other stuff. Be who you are. You figure it out. You figure out you. And once you do that, just be who you are, man. And you create. You're a creator. So just be in that. Just stay in that. And don't let other stuff detract from you or distract you or pull you away from it. Because one of the biggest things that happened to me, like I said, life happened. So when life happened, when I lost eyesight, a lot of stuff I stopped doing because I was saying to myself I couldn't do it anymore because I couldn't see. And I always point this out, that wasn't true. I still see. It's just that a lot of my eyesight is gone, but I still see. So I have to see differently, or I have to make sure that I pay attention differently. So I move differently. Life happens, you move differently, and that's all I'm getting at. Life is going to continue to happen. Mom's gone. Okay. Yep. Now you're gonna have to move differently. You're gonna feel a certain way. You're gonna do all. Yep. But guess what? You're gonna have to still live and help other people elevate along the way. Anyway, hope that part makes sense. If nothing else I say or do makes sense, I hope that part you get. All right. So let's get back to the track here. So like I was saying, I listen to a lot of piano players. The ones who know what they're doing, and I listen to them. And I listen to the little inflections and things that they would play. And one of the first things I picked up was they don't play everything at the same level. So that's one. So I had to learn that. They don't play everything at the same level. But how can I do that How can I? That's a question that I use for everything. And I'm dropping these pieces in this particular stream. So that piece, what I just said, how can I? When I ask that question, when I talk about the life journey, because helping other people elevate in music and life, that's what I'm all about. I don't sit and debate, what's best, what's good. It's not helping other people elevate in music and life. So if you just come here, you sitting here, you watching this dude, you're like, what is this dude? And you laughing, helping other people elevate in music and life. Because if I got you away from all the other nonsense that's going on in the world today, that's basically dragging people into depression and all kinds of stuff, if you for a few seconds could look at this dude like this dude crazy, that's fine. I'm good with that because it took you away from all of the nonsense that's out there. Helping other people elevate in music and life, that's all I'm about. So here's the deal. What I'm pointing out as far as when we actually sit here and we talk about doing the music, I watch and I listen and I observe. And when I observe and I listen for how are they doing what they're doing. When I lost eyesight, one of the lies that I started telling myself is I can't. Didn't matter what it was. I can't do this. I can't. Because the first lie I was telling is I can't see. It was a lie, but I didn't recognize it as a lie. I just knew something happened with my eyes. And the first thing I was saying to myself was, I can't see. And the truth was, I don't see like I used to. Notice what I said. I don't see like I used to. I still see. So the truth is, I still see, but I was telling myself I can't see. But I'm trying to, this part right here, man, I hope you get this one too. Be careful of the lies that you put in front of you, even though you're just speaking about something and you're not technically correct. But once when you start stating that, you start saying that, and you basically make that a part of, when you say that and you hear it, this is why this is very important. Why? Especially for us as creators, because we mimic what we hear. We mimic what we hear. So as soon as I started saying, man, I can't see, when I started saying it, I started mimicking that. And I started acting as if I could not see. If I would just said, you know what, I see differently, or it's difficult seeing, the truth is still there. But when I put the lie in front of me, it halted everything. I literally stopped making music for a time because I kept saying I couldn't do, I can't. And I used as the excuse what was happening in life. The life was happening. Life be lifing, and it was lifing on me, and I was using that as an excuse to say that I can't do something, which was a lie. And all I had to basically do is say, look, rephrase it. Now that my eyes are janky, how can I? Notice that. So if you learn how to basically, instead of saying I can't, and you just put that question, how can I, ... whatever it is, whatever, because that changed my whole trajectory. That I'm not kidding you. My life trajectory changed from going down in a hole to going up just with that question, because everything I looked at, everything in my life was how can I? Now that this is how can I? So, like listening to my favorite piano players. I don't really play piano. But I've had many people on YouTube and other places be like, dude, stop saying that, because you whatever you're saying doesn't match what we're seeing. And I had to pay attention to what they were saying to me, because again, I was saying something else. I was saying, I can't play piano. Or I was saying something else. I am not a pianist. Okay? Get what I'm saying? I am not trying to take anything from anybody who's put the years in and put the time in playing piano. That is not my skill. I give mad props and credit to anybody who knows how to do that. I'm not one of them. And that's facts. But here's what I'm saying. When I say I am not something, as soon as I say I am, that's my being. When I say I am, that's being. No matter what any of us, we're human beings. When we say I am, whatever you put after that is a potential or a possibility, and it's probably something that you can do if you put the time in. But if you say I am not, you cancel that. Just with that one word, not. So what I was doing, I was saying, well, I'm not a pianist. So as soon as I say that, I'm canceling the ability or the knowledge or whatever it is, I'm constantly canceling with what I'm saying. I'm saying something that's not true. I don't have to be the technical, title pianist. No, but I can make this thing do what it does, and I'll figure it out. Hope you get that part too. Don't get wrapped up in the titles and stuff. Let the results speak. You don't have to be a pianist to make piano sounds. You don't have to be a pianist to make the thing. Everybody, you should know that by now. But in case you don't get bogged down by that stuff. Why? Because it halts you on your journey. So I listen. And so I was like, always, how can I? So I listen to folks who play piano. And so I just picked up one thing at a time. So one of the first things I picked up, you can't play loud all the time. Second thing, well, I should say the first thing is you got to make sure you hit the right keys. So that's one. Make sure I hit the right and stop doing this. Make sure I hit the right keys. That's one. So I had to practice, okay, even with my pattern, with the way that I do this keyboard, I had to practice at moving up and down the way I know how as fast as I possibly can. Realizing that, yep, sometimes I'm going to slip. Why? Yeah. Don't have the technical skill. Be okay with it. Keep it moving. Something else I had to think about. When my favorite piano player starts playing, when that song starts, they don't stop. When that song starts, now I'm not saying that they don't rest. I'm saying that they don't stop. In other words, if they make a mistake, they're so good at it, you probably wouldn't even recognize it. That's another thing. So when I do make mistakes, be okay with it. Why am I saying that? Because again, recognize what you are and what your capabilities are. That way you don't beat yourself up over not knowing how to do something. Just keep it moving. And the more that you keep doing it, the better you'll get at it. The less times that you'll make the finger slips. Now my fingers slip most of the time because they're dry and it just slides off the keyboard, or the keyboard does something like that. But not intentionally. Another thing I had to learn, not playing loud all the time. That means high velocity. That was one. Making sure I hit the right key. Dynamics, play. Another piece was I listened, and a lot of people, I was like, oh, so that little thing that they do, that little piece right here, that right there, that changed everything for my play. Me trying to mimic something on the piano, that one thing changed everything. I know there's a lot in this stream, but here's the deal. This right here, that. You like, dude, what you talking about? I'm just saying, I went from pretty much playing quarter notes all the time. I went from that to that little piece right there. Yeah, and like, dude, that's nothing. All I know is that when I started implementing that, no matter what it was I was playing, that it changed the way that I was actually thinking about how I was moving on the keyboard. Again, I don't expect you to get everything I'm saying out of this, fam. I'm just sharing the pieces that come to my mind right now. Like I said, it's improvised. I'm improvising right now. The whole thing is that these little pieces, they're little pieces, little parts, little things. And I kept working them, keep working with them, and using, like I said, my style or my sound and the way that what vibes with me or whatever you want to call it out there today. Hey, just keep being who you are, keep taking steps, and then it goes from whatever that beginning part is. And like I said, now here's the crazy part. I call this crazy. Notice I told you, like 10 years ago, eyesight loss. But that was the same time where pretty much my whole music trajectory exploded, in a sense. The way in which I was making music, it changed, and it changed dramatically. The way I thought about music also changed. The way that I was moving up and down on the keyboard also changed. You're like, so what are you getting at? The life thing that happened to me was also the thing or the trigger for this piece of my music journey to kind of like jump up to a higher level. Not saying that the technical skill and ability and all that was there. It's just saying that no, by asking this question, how can I? It just took off because it was like I was no longer looking at what I and just looking at something and saying, well, I can't do that, and I just go on. Well, I can't do that, and I go on. You know, I can't do that. Oh, I'm not a piano player, so I can't do that. Oh, I don't play horn, so I can't do that. You know, instead of doing that, it was like, how can I? And looking at everything, that's when everything took off. So am I saying, yeah, I had to go, half blurry vision to get that? Probably, but I've learned to look at it as a blessing. And no, I don't suggest that you walk around look at everything bad that happens as like it's good. That's not what I'm talking about. But I can definitely see the blessings that have happened since that point, because it forced me to change the way that I thought. It forced me to change the way that I spoke. It forced me to change. And then when I changed, my whole trajectory changed. Anyway, let's keep it moving, because I know I'm talking more than I'm making music. And so let's go ahead and back into this track here. Like I said, all of these parts that are here. So we just been listening to the bass right here. Bringing it in. So a lot of stuff I do with horns. So I do a lot of horns. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm not gonna do that joke. So the whole thing is that, I, for whatever reason, part of my sound or the way, I'll put it this way. If you saw me as music, or as a piece of music, if you, instead of seeing, this dude who's standing there, this so-called black man in America, all that, and instead of seeing that, if you saw me as music, then you would see a bunch of horns. You would see, like horn sections. You would also see you would see strings. Not really that you would see, but I would be walking strings and horns, along with, some electric piano with a whole bunch of crazy percussion. And I'm not just talking about regular drums. I'm talking about like percussions that are just they're not popular. It's just percussion just for percussion's sake. Like where did that come from? Why is that over there? All of these different pieces, but it would be all of these things that you would see or hear, but they would still move in one direction, but they would be still moving all over the place. That doesn't make any sense. Again, like I said, a lot of this stuff when I'm improvising, I listen to myself speak, like that didn't make any sense whatsoever. But that is the concept, is the idea that you got all these parts, all of these moving pieces, and they're doing all this other stuff, but weirdly enough, although they're doing all of this, they're still moving towards something, and it's like this wall. They call it wall of sound. I've heard that, but it's like all of this sound, but it's moving towards something. That's pretty much me. That would be me. Like just creative flourishes over here, over here, over here, over here, over here, but still going towards just one thing. Yeah, duh. Isn't that what music is? Yeah. So my point. So I'm hand playing all this stuff out. So you see what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, where it's like, I keep that. It was like, I'm not trying to make it, definitely not, in this, I'm not trying to make it popular. I'm just creating whatever comes to mind to capture it. Trying to capture whatever is being created in a moment. And whatever comes to mind, I want to make sure that I catch it in the DAW or catch it in a recording some kind of way. That's all I'm thinking about. I'm not really thinking about, okay, well, this would be good for such and such artist. It's not what I do. So, not in my creative space. So let's go ahead. Next thing. So you got these pieces, right? All these pieces. All right, so again, just playing along with it as I hear different pieces. Anyway, keep it moving. The idea of the drums and the parts playing together, so we're gonna keep it with this right here. Bring it in. So again, just playing along with it. Again, not really caring so much about whether or not it's on beat or off beat. Trying to stay with it. Trying to stay, especially with this tempo. This tempo is where we at right here. So I'm at 121. So again, not where I normally play. Most of the time, most music that I'm making is usually in the 90s range. I stay usually in the probably like 92 to 100. Um, Most recently, when I'm making stuff like either Amapiano or something in the South African house music, somewhere in there, I may go up to 117, somewhere in there. But most of the time, I'm down in the 90s. So trying to play something or staying with something at 121, again, this is another aspect of practicing. All of it to me is practice. Even the music that I'm making, no matter what beat or what song or whatever it is that I'm making from day to day, it's all practice. That's the way I think about it. Now, again, not suggesting or telling anybody this is the way that you need to do anything. You do what you do. Like I said, just do. The best way that I say it, rather than say do, be who you are and just be. And I know it might sound cliche, but it's true. Just be who you are. You ain't got to put on airs for nobody, trying to impress nobody. Just be who you are. And if you ever decide to speak it, but you don't have to. I do this for multiple reasons. The reason why I do live streams, again, like I said, my target.
Take a break. Refresh and refocus. The next working block is in 10 minutes. The time is 12:50 p.m.
That's my cue for me wrapping this up also. I have to set timers because a lot of times I lose time. Again, I'm a creative. What you expect? Creators, we got to have something that keeps us at time. This is why I do this. I do it this way in order to basically just show, hey, look, real life, real time. This is real Taurus. I ain't trying to give you a whole bunch of scripted stuff. That I don't have time for that. Here's the deal. Just trying to let you know that, yeah, if I can do this, if you see me doing this, and yeah, as janky as it may appear to you, you could do it far better. Be you, be the better you. But more than anything else, keep taking steps. Keep taking steps in the journey. If I could, I won't spend that time in this video or this stream, but I've along my journey, I have met so many people who've expressed this similar sentiment. Man, I just gave up. I was like, wow. I remember the times, there multiple times where I wanted to give up, where I wanted to quit. Like I said, life be life. It does it all the time, man. It's going to keep doing it. And I wanted to quit. Yes, music is my passion. because I haven't quit yet. But it's more than that. It's really who I am. It's just like I said, if when I envision myself as music, this is what you hear. You're gonna get all these different pieces, all these different parts, and if you listen to them individually, like, what? Okay, what's that? But when it comes together into this one thing, it's like, okay, some kind of way. I hope it makes you feel a certain way. More than anything, I hope it makes you move. Hope it moves you, maybe not physically, but it moves you in your mind and your spirit in some kind of way. Like I said, to keep taking steps. At the core, I'm a helper. That's all I am. I'm a person who helps. I want to help. I live to help. So I'm always looking for ways to help. Primary reason, trying to reach out to young kings, young queens, young cats like me when I was young. All the promise in the world, but life started happening. And just to encourage, keep taking steps. Yep, I know it's hard. Probably gonna get harder. I ain't gonna lie to you and be like it's Disney, because it's not. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. And that's why you have to be who you are. Keep taking steps. Helping other people elevate in music and life. That's all I'm really trying to do. Like I said, if it means I gotta look crazy, if it means that, yo, this cat don't know what he doing, and you go out and you go and do what you gotta do and you be who you are, fine. I take that. I don't care. You keep it moving. Keep it moving. Like I said, it's a lot of darkness, a lot of people who lost hope, a lot of people who quit. And I don't mean just in the music journey. A lot of people who quit in the life journey. Just flat out quit. Keep taking steps, fam. I hope you get that. Like I said, I'll look crazy as I need to just to reach out to that young queen, that young king out there and say, look here, I know, keep taking steps. Because then you can get to be like me. You get to be an old head. I'm an old head. I don't care what people say. I'm glad, because I wasn't supposed to make it this far. I wasn't supposed to make it this far, fam. So anyway, back to the music. Let's wrap it up with this right here. This is part of what I got to do. Got to close out of here in the next, next 7 minutes there. Let's go. Turn around.